You know that feeling, right? We've all been there. You wake up and your mouth feels like absolute sandpaper. It's sticky, it's uncomfortable, and all you can think about is getting a glass of water. It's so common that most of us just, brush it off. But what if that feeling is more than just being a little thirsty? What if it's actually a warning sign?
Seriously, what if that thing we casually call cottonmouth isn't just some minor inconvenience? What if it's your body trying to send you a really important message about your health? Well, that's what we're going to dive into. And just so you know, this is not some rare thing. Get this, up to 30% of adults over 65 deal with persistent dry mouth. That is a huge number of people. It really shows that as we get older, this becomes a much, much bigger deal. Okay, so to really get a handle on this, we need to understand what's actually happening on a medical level. You're about to see why this is so much more than just a simple need for water. It's got a pretty fancy medical name, xerostomia. It's pronounced xerostomia. And this isn't about just forgetting to drink water one afternoon. It's a chronic issue where your salivary glands, for whatever reason, just aren't making enough saliva to keep things running smoothly. You know, we don't really think about saliva, but it's basically the unsung hero of your mouth. It's not just water. It's this amazing, complex fluid that kills bacteria, starts breaking down your food, and washes away all those little particles. Plus, it strengthens your teeth and fights off infections. Without enough of it, your mouth's entire defense system is down. And when that defense system is down, well, the consequences can be pretty serious. We're talking a much higher risk for things like cavities and gum disease. It can even lead to painful fungal infections like oral thrush, not to mention mouth sores and, of course, bad breath. For some people, it can even make simple things like chewing, swallowing, or even talking really difficult. All right, so if it's that big of a deal, what's actually causing it? Let's pull back the curtain and look at the usual suspects behind xerostomia. For the most part, the causes tend to fall into four main buckets. We're going to look at your sleep and breathing habits, the medications you might be taking, certain health conditions, and of course, a few key lifestyle factors. Let's start with maybe the most direct reason you'd wake up feeling parched, breathing through your mouth all night. Whether it's just a habit or you're congested from allergies, that constant airflow is like a blow dryer for your mouth, just drying everything out while you sleep. And the link between breathing issues during sleep and dry mouth is, well, it's pretty shocking. Look at these numbers from a study. In the control group, only about 3% reported dry mouth. Okay, not bad. But that number jumps to over 16% for people who snore. And for those with obstructive sleep apnea, it's a whopping 31%. This is a huge clue that dry mouth could be pointing to a much more serious breathing problem. Next up is a big one that affects so many of us: medications. I mean, literally hundreds of common prescriptions and over-the-counter drugs list dry mouth as a side effect. And if you're taking more than one medication at a time, your risk just goes up and up. Some of the biggest offenders are things many people take every day, like decongestants for allergies, antidepressants, or drugs for high blood pressure. But the research really shows that urological medications, the ones used for things like bladder control, have one of the absolute strongest connections to causing dry mouth. Sometimes dry mouth isn't a side effect. It's a direct symptom of another health issue. For example, high blood sugar in people with diabetes is a classic cause. It's also a major sign of Sjogren's syndrome, which is an autoimmune disorder that actually attacks the glands that make moisture. It's just another reason why you really can't afford to ignore this. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the problems and the causes. Let's shift gears and talk about solutions. The good news is there are a ton of practical things you can do to get some relief. Let's build your at-home toolkit for managing dry mouth. Here is a fantastic place to start. On the helpful side of things, sip water all day long. Chew sugar-free gum to get your saliva flowing, and try running a humidifier at night. On the things to avoid list, anything that's going to dehydrate you or irritate your mouth further. We're talking about alcohol, tobacco, caffeine, and really salty or spicy foods. And here's a super simple, really effective home remedy you can make right now. Just take a cup of warm water, add a little baking soda, and a tiny bit of salt, and you've got yourself a soothing mouth rinse. It actually helps mimic your natural saliva and can give you some immediate relief. Now, if you're into more natural approaches, there are a few things people find really helpful. Oil pulling with coconut oil can feel really soothing. Herbal lozenges with ingredients like slippery elm can help coat and moisturize the mouth. There's even some research suggesting that things like ginseng and acupuncture might help stimulate your saliva production. So all those at-home remedies are great for getting by day to day. But let's talk about the long game. What about prevention? And more importantly, when is it time to stop trying to fix it yourself and get a professional involved?
Okay, this part is absolutely critical because dry mouth puts you at such a high risk for dental problems. You have to be on top of your oral hygiene. That means brushing with fluoride, flossing every single day, and visiting your dentist regularly. This is your number one defense against those complications we talked about.
And remember, if you've been trying these things and you're still really struggling, you do not have to just live with it. A doctor or a dentist can offer other options, like over-the-counter saliva substitutes or even prescription meds that can help get your salivary glands working properly again.
The key is knowing when to make that call. If your symptoms get so bad that they're making it hard to eat or talk, or if you see any bleeding, notice your teeth are getting loose, or have sores in your mouth that just won't go away, that's your sign. It's time to see a professional. Seriously, don't wait. So, at the end of the day, that feeling of waking up completely parched, it's more than just an inconvenience. It's a signal. It's a message from your body. It might be about your sleep, your meds, or your overall health. The real question is, are you listening to what it's trying to tell you?